Okay. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's segment of Sipure Maisius, Maisim Chiger, a story of a cripple. Um, until now, the story was there was an old man that left a tzavod for his children, to his children, that they should water trees. And he said you can also do you can have other parnassus, other uh, professions, or whatever it is, but occupations. But this you should make sure that you do. You should water trees. And then he passed away, and he said he had one son, and that one son was a cripple, and his problem was that he couldn't walk. He could stand, but he couldn't walk. Now, this particular cripple was unusual in the fact that his brothers gave him sustenance, being that he couldn't do it on his own, being a cripple. But he only used whatever it is that he had to. The rest he saved. And when he had a little bit of money saved, he decided, why should I, remain with my brothers, rely on my brothers' sustenance? Why don't I do a business on my own? When he told his brothers said, that's a good idea. They lent him some more money, and then he hired himself a Naaman, secretary, a loyal ambassador, as it were, and a Balagola, a driver of the wagon. And they set out. They set out to the big city, to where the fair was, so he can do some business. Now they went and they stopped by an inn. I mean, sorry, they came through an inn, and the Naaman, the Balagola, tried to convince him to stop for the night, and he didn't know, and he didn't want it, and he pushed, and they continued, and they lost their way and in the forest, and robbers, attacked them and took whatever it is that they had. And this is where you're holding by the story. So before we actually continue with this particular Nakuda in the story where we're holding, I want to sort of illuminate 2 points in the story from the beginning to this point, which are exceedingly important. When the Rebbe says there was Chacham Echad, says Maise Chacham Echad, there was a Chacham Echad that told his children you should water trees. That should be your main occupation. It gives you the mahalach and the life of every person. The main thing is Chacham Echad, meaning that you connect the head, which is a Kadosh Baruch Hu, which is Shem Havaya Baruch Hu. As we learn in Terech Chaf, that's the Pnei Menorah, that's the Kedem, that's the Makifin, that's the Olam Haba. Or in the professional lingo, that's Zer Alpin. To connect it with the Midos, which is Olam Hazeh, which is Olam HaMaisa, to show that Hashem Hu Elokim, that Hashem, the Olam Haba, and Olam Hazeh is one thing. This is the role of the Chacham. This is the role of the Tzaddik. This is the role of the Rebbe. To connect for the people that are coming to him, the people that are following him, the people that get close to him, to illuminate and to help them actualize and manifest the fact that Hashem hu Elokim, that what you know in principle, you also act on it. And Hashem hu Elokim in everything that you do, l'maisa. This is what he told him. What you need to do is you need to water trees. Trees, as we know from the Zohar Kodesh, the shamas they're called asavim, they're called trees. The main goal of every single person is actually to water trees. The trees, it says, Adam etz asada. The man is a tree of the field. And it shows an amazing nakuda. You might think that the greatest thing that you can do in this world, it definitely is great, is to perfect yourself. And as they say, in the advertisement of the US Army, be all that you can be. It's definitely what the goal is about. But he's telling them, how can you be all that you can be? And that is by watering trees, by helping somebody else. When you meet somebody, it can be your wife, it could be your children, it could be your neighbors. Give them chayas. Do them a favor. There's an unbelievable story that was told by Shlomo Kalbach, that many years ago, I think in the 1960s, he went around Tel Aviv and he saw this old man, and this man that was sweeping the streets. And his body was like all broken down. But he has this amazing face, this amazing kind face. And Aaron Hazel wrote a song about this. And he said, so he came to the Seed. This Seed was, he had a number tattooed on his forearm. And so Shlomo Kalmbach came to him and asked him, Rabbi, where are you from? So this is especially poignant for us who are, Ramad Bet Shemesh Aleph, alumni or residents. And he said that he was from Piazetzna. So Shlomo Kalmbach says, like, wow, you are from Piazetzna? I've never met, a Holocaust survivor from Piazetzna. Oh, it's amazing. And he says, did you know the Esh Kodesh, the Rebbe of Piazetzna? Klonimus Kalman of Piazetzna, the famous Rebbe of Ghetto Varsha, So he said, what do you mean? Did I know? Of course I know. He says, I remember, says, can you tell me anything of his Torahs or whatever? So he said, do you think I remember anything of his Torahs after the Holocaust that I went through? So he said, well, I can tell you one thing about him. I remember when we were kids, he took us and he danced with us and he told us, Kinderlach, remember, there's nothing greater in the world than to do somebody else a favor. And he says that then he went to the concentration camp, he went to Auschwitz, or wherever he went to. And he lost all his family. And he said that many times he just wanted to die. He just wanted to. So he, but then there were newbies that came to the camp, and they were broken and they were in pain, and he remembered that which the Rebbe of Piaseczna told him, that there's nothing greater. He's wanted to do somebody else, to do good for somebody else, to do toiv to somebody else. And he would listen to them. The only thing he did was just listen to them. And he said that's how he passed the Holocaust, because he was able to give to somebody else. And he says, "Bayom Hashem echad u'shmo echad." The Gemara says, well, "What do you mean? That day Hashem will be one and His name will be one." Today HaKadosh Baruch Hu is not one. Gemara says, "Yeah, of course Hashem is one and His name is one. But in the future, today, when something good happens, we make a bracha tova meitiv. Chas v'chalila, something bad happens, we make a bracha dynamis. But la'osid lavoi, in the future, it's all going to be a tova meitiv, but nothing but a tova meitiv, which means it'll be a total unification between Hashem echad u'shmo echad. The Shmo is the outside, because what is the name of a person? A person is how somebody calls him from the outside. You are whoever you are. But the name is for somebody else's use, that they can relate to you. A name is that which we have for every single reality in the world. If it wasn't for a name, we could not relate to one another, and we could not pass information to one another. If we say, listen, I'll meet you tomorrow at 11 o'clock, I is a name, will is a name, meet is a name, you is, a name, at is a name, 11 is a name, o'clock is a name. You put them all together, and now you know that you and I, we can prepare something for the future, that we will meet at 11 o'clock. When you come to think of it, the ability to name names, to have a language, is the most astounding thing. It's the most incredible abstract principle there is. I mean, animals can communicate, and plants can communicate, and I'm sure even an inanimate object can probably communicate. Even mikir kitizak. They say that the stones of the wall of a person's house will testify in the future. So they also have, but there's one thing that the animals and the trees and the animals cannot do. They cannot teach someone else. This is something that they can do. They always have to start from scratch. You can take an animal, you can teach it how to do something. But that animal cannot teach another animal. The second animal has to start from scratch. This is the Koyach HaDibur. With the dibur, you do everything. With the dibur, you water trees. That's the tachlis of everything. The second nekuda that we touched upon in this story was the fact that the son, who is the hero of this, he's the protagonist of our story, or at least so it seems, because this is an incredibly complex story, where the timeline, as you'll notice as we go along, is really very hard to follow. What becomes after, what goes after, where is he present, when is he not present. But the main thing, the main nakuda we're dealing with is the fact that he is a cripple. And this is an amazingly important nakuda. You know, we have these stories, the Sipuri Tzadikim, how, you know, people go to the tzaddik and they come to him with a problem, and the tzaddik gives him a Yeshua. And this is an amazing thing. It's Emunas Chachamim. And somebody had a problem, and he went to Reb Shimon, and he cried for it, and he was helped. And you know, these are stories that are prevalent and repeat themselves over and over and over, and are very, very important. They're very important because, as you were saying, you know, they plant Emunas Chachamim in a person. But when it comes to Avodas Hashem, there is an inherent problem with those kind of stories. Because those kind of stories sort of like implant in you the notion that it's all about success. He went to the Rebbe, he went to the tzaddik, he got the Yeshua. What do you mean he got the Yeshua? The person was in a state of distress. He got to the tzaddik, bada bing, bada boom, he was helped. He didn't have a shidduch, got a shidduch, like Kol Am Yisrael should have shidduchim. Had Shlom Bayis problems, boom, it was over. Halavai. This notion is an insidious notion, because it's not about making it. It's not about success. It's about keeping your equilibrium, no matter what happens to you. Ups and downs. Moshe Rabbeinu is a kvad peh. He stutters. His klei adibur were. Moshe Rabbeinu is the epitome of quote unquote cripple. He's the big cripple. He's the big cripple that help every single cripple out there, every single reject out there, to understand that it's not about worldly success or failure. Because it's not about this world, B'chal. And this is where we're holding in the story. After the robbers took the money from him, and we said that the Ne'eman and the Baal HaGola, they represent the Das, they represent the Emunah, they represent the Tzaddik and the Kodesh Baruch Hu. The Ne'eman is the Kodesh Baruch Hu, and Baal HaGola is the Tzaddik. Agola is the union of Emuna. They ran away. Ran away means that they stand aside because as you continue in this world, as you move along in this world, inevitably robbers fall on you. They attack you, and they take everything from you. The main thing they take from you is they take from you the das. Rabbeinu says that the secret of das, the secret of the yisurim and suffering that a person suffers in this world is because of a diminishing of das, a lack of das. Aken gala ami bivli das. That's why my people have exiled for a lack of das. The das is Hashem or Elokim. But the main thing, it's not about, yo, dude, you forgot the prime directive. You forgot the main principle. You forgot what this is about. Remember Hashem Elokim? Okay. No, that's not how it works. The idea is that you need to go to every single nook and cranny in your life and bring a Kadosh Baruch Hu there. And the way to bring a Kadosh Baruch Hu to every single point in your life is not just when you have the das, but fakir, when you have no das and you stay the course. And this is what it says. It says, V'aben anal, it says in the story, Kol zman shaya lo ha'maychel shelakach mibeitoi, as long as he had the sustenance, the food he took from home, lechem yovish shaya ba'agola, the dry food, toasts, crackers that he had in the wagon, shekorin sucheres, that's the way in Yiddish, I guess you call it. Ochol osam, then he ate this. V'achakach shekola, when he finished eating all the dry bread, the toast that he had, lo haya lo lechol, he didn't know what to eat. This ear of the dry bread is a mashal that the Torah and the tefillah by a person are dry. I'm going to tell this to you and nobody else. And if you ever repeat it to anybody, I will deny it emphatically. The Torah and the tefillah are by me, many times, most times, is without any sweetness, without any chayas, without any. It says about him, this the feeling of sweetness in Yiddishkeit that I brought from my house when that finished, when that imprint, that I brought from before, whatever it is, that shmek of a Yiddish home, because of the bilbulim of the forest, because of the bilbulim of the klippas, even this gets lost. And he started again. We find it in so many stories of Tzipur Maisis. The Rabbeinu says, whenever it is that the protagonist of the story finds himself in a really tight corner, what he does is he stops and he reflects. That state of in between is an incredibly important step in Avodas Hashem. It's the hallway, if you will, to either cry into HaKadosh Baruch Hu, bitochen, tefillah, or panic. Either or. At that particular junction, we saw it in the Maisa from Aved Bas Melech. Over there, the situation was that he ate from the tree, he drank from the river, he slept for 70 years, he missed his opportunities time and time and time again. Whenever it is that he finally came to, the first thing he did was ask himself, where am I in the world? Where am I in the world? What's going on with me? This kind of Yishuv Adas, we saw it in Am Yisrael, as we mentioned this in Parshat Beshalach, where it says they came to the sea and they turned to Moshe Rabbeinu, and they took the whole way into panic. We told you, leave us alone. Don't take us, let us serve the Egyptians. We said, we had the meat, we had the avatichim, the watermelons, the garlics, whatever. Leave us alone. There are not enough graves in Mitzrayim. We told you to leave us alone. Moshe Rabbeinu says, Imdu, stay, stand, wait, bitul, clear your mind completely. U'es Yeshuas Hashem, and see the Yeshua of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So this is what he does. The first thing is v'yishav atzmo imalasot, what to do. V'yishlich atzmo me'agola, and he threw himself from the wagon. Lechol asavim, to eat grass. In depth, the meaning of eating grass is to hold on. Is to give yourself chayas with nekudas tovos. This is what we said the last time on Motzei Shabbos. But this is the union of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, his entire pride and joy is you. In order to be able to say it to yourself and get chayas from this, this is the ha'ara of the tzaddik. The illumination of the tzaddik is not only the Torah of the tzaddik. It's the tzaddik himself. The tzaddik himself is not somebody who was and isn't anymore. The tzaddik is here all the time. The tzaddik is with you wherever you are. B'frat the tzaddikim agdolim b'ma'al u'ma'od. He's always with you. The only thing that you need to do is, as we said on Motzei Shabbos, you need to direct yourself towards that makif, towards that Shem Havaya, towards this Zer Anpin. The Malchus is to be facing the das of the tzaddik, then it can give you chayas. But we can say that there's another thing, another nekuda. Whenever it is that you find yourself in your life, that you're stuck, you're just stuck. It can be with parnasa. It can be with your Yiddishkeit, in davening. It can be with learning. It can be with addictions. It can be either drugs or computer or internet or food or anything else. It could be with relationships, obviously. It could be with chinuch habana, with everything else. And you feel that you are stuck. The answer to getting unstuck is a change of paradigm. Take a look at things from a different angle. You know, I have friends, specifically have one friend that he has a profession, like some kind of not really medical, but kind of like he's a therapist of some sort, and he has right now he has no parnasa, and the truth is that he had no parnasa before either. But before he had a little bit here, there. Now there's nothing at all for a long time. So he's standing there and he's collecting money. Well, you can't blame anyone. If you need, you need. But once a friend of mine asked him, why don't you just, just get a job? Go work in the supermarket. Just put things, price on the shelves. It's just like the answer was, how much did they pay already? 4,000 or 5,000 shekels a month. Well, you can't make a living like that. What he's making 5,000 shekels a month collecting money. He's not making that much money. The answer is that there's a problem here, that he's stuck in a notion, whereas, I'm really better than that. I'm a therapist. But what can I do? There's no work. So I have to collect. His self-esteem, or his imaginary self-esteem, is tied into being a therapist. It doesn't work. What can you do? So I collect money. I live on the fact that this is a tremendous bizayon. Yeah, but I'm still a therapist. I'm a therapist that doesn't have work. I'm not putting stuff on shelves in supermarkets or something. He's stuck. For him to get unstuck is to throw himself from the wagon. Throw himself off the wagon of that which he's used to. And instead of telling himself, listen, I can't get work in my preferred whatever it is, what can you do? Nothing. I'm so locked in to, that's the way I see myself. This is who I am. That if not that thing, collecting money enables him to hold on to that image. I'm really better than that. And everybody that walks around me, and maybe they're giving me a shekel, they're giving me half a shekel, somebody give me 20 shekels. They don't really appreciate me. They don't really know who I really am. At the same time, he is in his own mind somebody who will never have anything. It feeds who he really feels, what he really feels about himself. In a way, being stuck is what he wants. It's not what he would want to want, because he's paying an emotional price for this. It's very demeaning. But that's what that's what he feels about himself. He's unworthy. In fact, his profession was a certain thing that almost assured that he will be out of a job and collecting money. You want to get out of it? Throw yourself off the wagon and get down and eat grass. This will break off. This will break off the rut that you're in and can get you unstuck. Be miyash of yourself. What do I have? What am I willing to do? My work is not about what do I think about myself and how do I see myself. The same thing, my relationship with my wife. It's not about does she make me feel like a nothing or not. It's. I think yesterday was the day that the International Love Day, whatever it is they call it. The Tu B'Av, the International Tu B'Av, and somebody sent me a message like, what is the secrets of a good relation, good marriage? And they say, you're supposed, this is the kind of words you should use, and in the touch that you should use, and there's all kinds of techniques, do this, do that. But there's one thing that did not say. The greatest gift of love that you can give to your wife, who is the only person who knows you completely and totally. If you think she doesn't know, quote unquote, you got another thing coming, pal. She knows everything. She just doesn't have the words to tell you. That's it. The greatest gift of love that you can give her and yourself is commitment. To go to work, something which is demeaning, but it's work, is commitment. To sit there with your wife as she digs into you and she tells you things that make you feel like something that the cat dragged in, or worse. And not start an argument and not run away. Instead, water trees. What does it mean, water trees? Be in a giving mode. Sit there and listen to her. You don't have to believe her words, but you should believe the pain. There's pain there. There's a cry there. Listen to her. Listen to what it is. Don't be focused into how does it hurt me. It makes me feel like a total no goodnik, like a total loser. Forget about that. Agree to feel like a loser. That's okay. That's your present of love on the National Tu B'Av to your wife. You're sitting there and it's not about you. It's about, but I don't know what to say. Men never know what to say. Men always know how to give advice, how to fix things. She doesn't want you to fix anything. He just wants you to be there, to be present. What does it mean to be present? To be present means to be there with zero expectations for the next moment. That's it. Nothing more than that. You do that, you will have the perfect marriage, 100%, because you're committed. If you listen, it doesn't make me feel so good. I know. So right now, I don't want. Listen, to certain points, it's totally legitimate to say, listen, I'm sorry, you cannot wash the floor with me. With all due respect, it's okay. In fact, you'll appreciate that. Believe you me. But nevertheless, commitment to your parnasa, commitment to the welfare of your wife, commitment to your Torah, commitment above all to HaKadosh Baruch Hu is the name of the game. It's not about having a Geschmack at Tefillah or a Geschmack at Torah. It's not about that. It's about ne'emonos. It's about loyalty. Moshe Rabbeinu says in so many places, is the das. Compared to us, he is makifin. The das of the tzaddik is makifin. Atay resalo das ki Hashem Elokim. You, Moshe Rabbeinu, have shown our das. He's beyond the das. He's the makif. Ki Hashem Elokim. And what is the biggest present that you can give Moshe Rabbeinu? We say it every Shabbos in the morning. Yismach Moshe b'matnas chalkoi ki eved ne'eman karas aloi. A loyal slave, you called him. And it says, klil tiferes beroish nasat aloi. The entire Torah you gave him in his hand. All the dozens, yeah, but that's not the pride and joy of Moshe Rabbeinu. Yeah, pride and joy is that he's beetle, he's committed. He brings nothing else, and he's only giving. He's giving to Am Yisrael. He's giving to Kadosh Baruch Hu. He's an Eved Ne'eman. Eved Ne'eman, a loyal slave, is somebody that, listen, if it fits me, fine. I'll be around. But if it doesn't fit me, go look for your friends. Go find somebody else. This is the secret of Avodas Hashem. This is the secret of marriage. This is the secret of Chinuch Habanim. This is the secret of Ahavas Hashem, fears Hashem, of Atzlocha and everything. It's not about success. It's about commitment and sticking with it. And many times, you get stuck and you feel really, really not well, really, really not good about this or that, and you freak out, and it's okay. Hold on. Speak to somebody. Speak to Kodesh Baruch Hu, obviously. Speak to your wife. And hold on. And hold on. If you're willing to throw yourself off the wagon because of your commitment and eat grass, in English, I guess it's eating crow, I don't know, you will succeed. The real success. You will connect the Hashem o Elokim. Yomu Hashem echad u'shmo echad. B'ezrat Hashem, we will conclude with this, and I will meet you all, Mitzvah Hashem, on Thursday as we learn Likutei Moharan.